So, hello and welcome to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. And I am again streaming at the time. And as you can see on the left hand side of the screen, we are going to discuss the 5 love languages again. Unfortunately, I love the last day, so yesterday, I did really, I have really forgotten to mention this book or just to talk about this book again. Because I don't know why actually. It was like it felt like a little bit better to do something else. But hello to people who are on the stream right now. My name is Christopher Wolk. I'm a graphic design student from Austria, and I'm going to discuss this book on my channel. So I have a YouTube channel as well where I discuss articles. It's all about business, self-development, all these kind of things. But the thing is, I have actually started to talk about this summary before, and the episode is on my channel, so yeah. But the thing is, the fucked up part is that I really don't know where I've stopped, which is not the best thing. But I'll just start somewhere. So verbal compliments or words, so I'm here. So verbal compliments or words of appreciation are powerful communicators of love, which is totally true, Verbal compliments are things, I think it's quite funny that if a baby takes a shit, if a baby walks, if a baby does anything, we all go ahead and be like, yeah, and praise this baby and be like, yeah, this is, I don't know, it's something you have never seen. And the thing is, if an adult is doing something, all people are just like, yeah, okay. They most of the time just mention the negative things and really point out the negative things, what people in general did. But they often do not really emphasize the positive parts or when they, did something great. And that's why I really want you to encourage to really, for example, if you see a man with a nice coat, I always, talk about this example. If you see a person with a nice coat, with a nice dress, with nice trousers, I don't know, just go to them. Or if your coworker or your friend or your mother or your father or whatever, any person, if one of them did something really great, then just go ahead to them and be like, yeah, you did this great. And I appreciate it that you did this great. And I, really be emphasizing it and really be like, yeah, really show them and really be, talk out of your heart, which, it's not that complicated. Let's see. But yeah, actually I've talked about this point before, but it is so important that I had to pick it out again, or had to speak about it again. I've talked about this as well. Yeah. Just see that it's not that working as well as I wanted. This is this is that. This is that. So, but yeah. So sometimes our words say one thing, but our tone of voice says another thing, which is totally true. And this is, I think, actually a thing you have to keep attention to is, how you pronounce things and how you talk things, because they would completely destroy your whole sentence, the whole meaning of your words that come out of your mouth if the tone of your voice doesn't really match the thing you're going to say. Please keep attention to it. And if you just be a little bit conscious about it, over a pretty long period of time or a longer period of time, you will, be some sort of, I think, used to just, keep attention to it. Yeah. We can choose to live today free from the failures of yesterday, which is totally true. Yesterday is yesterday, but the thing is, you can change or you can determine tomorrow by, taking great choices today, or making great choices today, or just, begin to or start to have a great habit today. The thing is, yesterday and your whole past is your whole past. It may have, some sort of changed you or formed you, but the thing is, you can really change it this day. You can change it today, and you can be another person tomorrow if you change some things today. So, nothing is lost. You can do everything, and you can change everything from, from now on, just. Yeah. When you make a request of your spouse, you are affirming his or her worth and abilities. You are introducing the element of choice. This is important because we cannot get emotional love by way of demand. Yeah, that's totally true. Which I think, if I got that right, just means that you should be requesting some things because the people feel then pretty good, because they feel like being needed. And I think everyone likes to be needed, or likes to be some sort of a valuable person, and this gives them value at my point of view. If your mate's primary love language is quality time, your spouse simply wants you, being with them, spending time. And that's totally true. So this is a thing of what they have been talking about before in the article, so a little bit above, is that you should really know the love language of your spouse to get a healthy or great and real, love relationship. And this is actually true. If you know how your spouse or how your beloved ones are speaking, and or what language they use, you can really just use this language as well, and just be even more connected with them, or just maybe create this connection again. But sorry, yeah. So where did I start? I just wanted to say something again. So which means that even if it's not maybe your thing, if your partner needs the time with you, and you maybe like, yeah, you get it, but you do not really want to do it, then at my point of view, in your whole life, I would never suggest somebody to do something they don't like. But I think it's just in terms of giving and getting with your spouse and or beloved ones, or whatever you want to call them. I'm sorry. Whatever you want to call them, it's just about giving and getting. And so if you give a lot, you will get a lot. And this is actually some sort of the law of attraction. What you give is what you get. If you give money, you will probably get money. If you give love, you will get love. And this makes sense. This is common sense. And at my point of view, a lot of people do this subconsciously. But if you just keep a little bit of attention to it, you will realize that this is actually true. And as I started to keep attention to it, and just listen to it. By the way, I have then just to say something about listening. That this thing, the law of attraction, is a really powerful thing and insight into life. Now, in terms of listening, at my point of view, listening is so underrated at this era, or in this era of our life, or of my life, because listening is essential. If you want to know what products your audience needs, or what problems do they need to be solved, you just have to listen to them. If you want to know what an answer to another question is, you just maybe have to listen and search and Google and maybe consume might be a good word. But I know Gary Vee is a lot talking about this, and this is not the reason why I talk about it, even though it seems sometimes like it. But I talk about it because I actually think that this is important. This is an important thing to just listen. A lot of people just talk, and most of the time talk about themselves. And, if you are then the person who is listening and lets the other person talk, and just be like, yeah, I let you talk. I give them questions or ask them questions, which, makes them talk even more, because these people like to talk. All people like to talk, especially about themselves, and which, creates a framework of this conversation that you know, that both sides are some sort of getting what they need. And this person needs attention or somebody to talk to, and you are the person who needs to get the information. And so you all both get, both. Yeah. So spending time, I'm here. And I really hope that the audio and video aren't too much set apart. This might be not the best thing. But spending time with your mate in a common pursuit communicates that you care about each other, that you enjoy being with each other, and that you like to do things together. So spending time with your mate in a common pursuit. What does common pursuit mean? Yet again, a little bit translating with deep L, and this time I will not talk about deep L because I do not know if I'm not really overdoing it. Yeah, this makes sense because, you know, if your mate or your spouse is liking something, you're liking as well, and you just do it together, it is again a win-win situation. You have quality time, she or he has quality time, and so everybody's happy. And I think, this just connects you even more. Just, you have a thing you like both, and then you do it together, and first of all you like, or hopefully like, your spouse, and then you hopefully like the thing you're doing with her or him. And at my point of view, this just creates a great connection. But yeah, one of the most common dialects is that of quality conversation. By quality conversation, Chapman means maybe sympathetic dialogue where two individuals are sharing their experiences, thoughts, feelings, and desires in a friendly, uninterrupted context. Which means just, talking again, and just letting the other talk and listen, and then the other way around. And that's, I think it's important that you are really, keeping attention to it, that you just see if maybe you're talking too much, or maybe you see that the other person wants to talk now, and then just let her or him talk. A little bit, observation, a little bit more listening is maybe needed in our society. And I as well need to listen more. I want to know what these people I'm hopefully serving with valuable content, what they need. And if I know what they need, I can really give them what they need. And this is all the things I want. It is actually, and now I have to tell a story. Today I was making the posts for tomorrow, and it was a little kind of struggle because the software I use, which is Buffer, which is totally free and everybody can use it, and but there is a limited amount of posts you can schedule for upcoming days. The thing is, I do not know how much posts I can do. This was the fucked up part. The thing is, I was just creating the posts and uploading them one and another, and just one after another. And then suddenly the last post, fortunately to be honest, the last post couldn't get shared to Facebook because my, the bucket of posts I can schedule was full. And, so I was like, I was pretty lucky that it wasn't just before, and especially not for a platform like Instagram where I, am pretty active. And where, this is my most common or mostly used platform is Instagram, and the platform that I most like as well. But there was something I initially wanted to say. There was something I initially wanted to say, but I'm sorry, I forgot it. Maybe it will come afterwards. Words of affirmation focus on what we are saying, whereas quality conversation focuses on what we are hearing. So affirmation, what does affirmation mean? I actually do not know. Und Affirmation Bestätigung. So words of affirmation focus on what we are saying, whereas quality conversation focus on what we are hearing. Yeah, affirmation, which is, it makes sense that an affirmation is actually something that's yeah, affirmate. Is it affirmate? Just let's taking it as a what is it called? As a doing word, like never mind. But yeah, it makes sense. We must be willing to give advice, but only when it is requested and never in a consenting manner. This is actually important, and I'm very happy to read this. But you just should give advice if it's wanted and if the other person is really willing to get it. Because first of all, you can't really just force a person to do something that maybe they do not even like. And if they come to you and ask you, and if they know that you might have the answer for their question, they will come and they will just talk to you. But the thing is, if not, then do not give them any advice, because it might then come across like you are the better one, and some people do not like to be a little bit worse than somebody else. I'm such a person. I pretty much hate it when people come up to me and tell me some advice, even though I initially didn't want any advice. It was, they just come up and give me advice because they maybe feel good by giving me advice. And this then, as I'm thinking about it, might be actually a great thing to connect with people by just, it was actually something they told you or told me or told us just before, I think in the article, that requesting something. And this is just the thing. You request something, the people feel important, they tell you something because they really want to tell you something, and if you especially if you know that they are willing to tell other people some things, then coming up to them and telling them like, what do you think about it? Could you give me advice? It will connect you pretty much deeply with them, at my point of view, or it would make sense. Ask yourself, what emotion is my spouse experiencing? When you think you have the answer, confirm it. For example, it sounds to me like you are feeling disappointed because I forgot. I think this is actually a thing that also can be some sort of translated to marketing. If you do not know what your target audience needs and what problems they have, just asking them is the easiest way if you have an audience. If you do not have the audience, it might get a little bit complicated and a little bit more complicated. But it's make me a little bit quieter. I see that I do have my audio thing on here and my video thing on here from the software I use. It's OBS, which is Open Broadcaster. Works totally fine, works perfectly, especially also for recording things. And I just have to see that the audio isn't just cranking up too much, that this would just make the audience a little bit sound pretty worse, and I don't want that, and I don't want this for me and also for you. But yeah, just asking, this is where I initially stopped. Just asking is just a great way if you have the audience or if you have a person to ask. If you do not have a person to ask, it might be, pretty complicated, because what should you do? Maybe a little bit too much, maybe like this, or yeah, this is fine. One way to learn new patterns is to establish a daily sharing time in which each of you will talk about 3 things that happened to you that day and how you feel about them. Chapman calls this the minimum daily requirement for healthy marriage. This is great advice. Just, everybody has some things in their lives or experienced some things in their days that they are maybe just fucked. So they just, fuck them really, or some things they might have been really happy about. And, as I said before, and this is actually something that is standing in the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, a book that I just really often talk about, because and this website, so the samuelthomasdavis.com website, even does have a summary of it, yeah. But the thing is that he says that where did I stop? This is just, having so much content or so much to talk about in my brain is a little bit more complicated than I'm used to having it. But the thing is, everybody wants to talk, and everybody wants to feel some sort of important through just, talking and telling somebody what's going on in their life. And so just asking, I think the most important thing is to ask the other person what they have experienced in their day, or what they liked about the day and how they felt about it. Not pretty much yourself being talking, just thinking about a little more about the other person than yourself, which is especially great advice in every kind of environment or every kind of situation you might be. It's just, not only talking about the other person, but most of the time, because it is also something that's written down in How to Win Friends and Influence People, in terms of maybe getting a job or just in general getting something from someone. The best way to do this is by just going into their perspective and seeing what they actually need, which then means in a job application, for example, that you write like, I'm really willing to work for you to grow your business, and not being like, yeah, I really want that job because I really want that money, or do not talk too much about yourself. Most of the time it's just about other persons, especially when you need something from them. But yeah, the essential ingredients in a quality activity are: at least one of you wants to do it, the other is willing to do it, both of you know why you are doing it, to express love by being together, sorry. This is great advice, so I will repeat it. So the first one is: at least one of you wants to do it. The second one is: the other is willing to do it. The other one is willing to do it. And the third one is: both of you know why you're doing it, to express love by being together, which is, the thought behind this question. A gift is something you can hold in your hand and say, look, he was thinking of me, or she remembered me. I'm having a little bit a hard time with gifting, because I really like gifting, but because I see that people really appreciate it, and most of the time are like, yeah, you can feel their happiness and feel maybe I'm only feeling the happiness of me giving something to them. Might also be true, I don't know, everything is possible, but it just feels nice to me, and I feel kind through it, and yeah, some sort of these things. But it's nevertheless, it's a little bit a hard time for me, because the physical presence in the time of crisis is the most powerful gift you can give if your spouse's primary love language is receiving gifts. That's actually true, and because fortunately enough, we are in an era where we can FaceTime and Skype and all these other video calling things, but really being present in a physical way is something completely different. And this is something, might people just are underrating at my point of view. But I've experienced that this is often something that's really needed. The physical appearance, just being able to hug someone, being able to give physical love to someone, not in terms of having sex, but in terms of, really just hugging them, kissing them, and so on. This is, at my point of view, yeah, it's definitely important to be present if your spouse is, really valuing it, or highly valuing it. By acts of service, Chapman mean doing things you know your spouse would like you to do. Yeah. If you know that your spouse likes apples or just some sort of other thing in terms of eating, just, sometimes buying it just randomly and giving it to them because, just they will feel like, yeah, you remembered them and you remembered that they like these things, these certain things. But yeah. But yeah. But yeah. Yeah. So I just had to check WhatsApp to not oversee something important. Because actually today is my birthday, my 18th birthday, and I'm now sitting here and making a podcast. But yeah, I was just thinking about or before to ask my friends out if they are willing or having time to just hang around a little. But yeah, love is a choice and cannot be coerced. It's COERCED, and I do not know what it is meant. What does it mean? What it means? So, love is a choice and cannot be. Yeah, that's totally true. And but if you can see it like, yeah, love is a choice, you can always be like, not loving someone is also a choice. So, which means that if you may be in a position that you are loving someone you do not really want to love, I think you can also some sort of make the decision that you do not love them from now on or something. Like, it would make sense if it's one way around, it's most of the time also the other way around. Each of us must decide daily to love or not love our spouses. If we choose to love, then expressing it in the way in which our spouses request will make our love most effective emotionally. Which makes sense. People tend to criticize their spouse most loudly in the era or area where they themselves have the deepest emotional need. Which is interesting. And I'm now just thinking again if there's something I've experienced or I can, correlate with something else or something. But it's a great statement. And the thing is, yesterday I've been talking about like a really great passage or paragraph in a text I was talking about today or yesterday, sorry. And I was like, yeah, I would have to write it down. And but then after the episode I will just write it down because now I do not have the time. And did I do it? No. And which is a little bit a fucked up part about this. And this is actually something that's really pissing me off, that I go through so much different book summaries and there is a lot of information in them, and most of the time I just forget them or just I don't know. It's a pity. Don't make the mistake of believing that the touch that brings pleasure to you will also bring pleasure to her. That's true, because you are an individual and the other person is an individual, and every individual just likes some different things in every aspect of life. So that's also a thing that's can be correlated to marketing. If you make a post for Instagram and if you see in the stream down, and also if you're on the podcast or on the YouTube video, there are all the links down in the description or in the podcast description, wherever it is. It depends on what podcast platform you are. But the thing is, if you make a post and you are like, yeah, I like the post, so it's because you're liking the post doesn't mean that all these other people are liking it as well. But a lot of people, it makes sense, and you might know it. Just like if I'm telling you right now, you might be like, yeah, fuck off, man, and this makes sense. You do not have to tell it to me. But in terms of making posts, only if you or only because you like this post in terms of aesthetics, or maybe, I don't know, because of the message or something, it doesn't mean that your target audience likes it. So at the end, you always have to design and you always have to speak in terms of your target audience, or in a way that your target audience is being triggered by, you know. But yeah, a common mistake many men make is assuming that physical touch is their primary love language because they desire sexual intercourse so intensely. That's true. And you know, it's always, and in terms of this, it also depends on just, you know, on you and, you know, your spouse. Because, you know, might, even though if you're a man and your spouse, you know, spouse might also like the, you know, physical interactions so deeply like you're liking them. But you know, it just depends on the person. Most sexual problems in marriage have a little to do with physical technique, but everything to do with meeting emotional needs. Yeah, a lot of people just, you know, they just bring it down to the physical part and it's always about this, and but then they, you know, it seems like they do not think about the other things anymore. If your deepest pain is the critical, judgmental words of your spouse, then perhaps your love language is words of affirmation. Affirmation. Affirmation was. Can I go back like this? No. Affirmation. Okay. So, which means that you, when the person or your language is being affirmed or whatever, or just, you know, being understood, and, you know, having a person that has, you know, the same opinions as you're having, so that there are no ways that you're just, you know, judging each other by, or in terms of your worldview or some things like this. And so I'm not sure about what I'm talking. Yeah, I'm just reading these things and I just, you know, combined with things I've experienced myself, or I, you know, think would fit. And so if there's anything I got wrong in your point of view, just tell me, write me a DM, comment down on this video or anything. I'm really up to it. And, you know, I really need these other perspectives of other persons to just, you know, get the most out of it. And also all the people who are watching it someday will need these informations. Yeah, where I am? Yeah, I'm here. Chapman suggests 3 ways to discover your own primary love language. The first one is, what does your spouse do or fail to do that hurts you most deeply? The opposite of what hurts you most is probably your love language, which makes sense. What have you most often requested of your spouse? The thing you have often or most often requested is likely the thing that would make you feel most loved. And the third one is, in what way do you regularly express love to your spouse? Your method of expressing love may be an indication that would also be you feel loved. Love may be an indication that would also make you feel loved, which, you know, makes totally sense. And I guess by saying these 3 important things, I will, you know, say goodbye to you. I hope you got a lot out of this episode. I think it was a great one. I'm not sure if there is going to be a second episode today, because, you know, I might need the time. Time is always, you know, the one thing that's what I'm losing. Just, you know, a little bit fucking up, because I was talking about it yesterday, but I have to talk about it today as well. If you have enough time, or if you have a lot of time, you will probably or definitely use it, because, you know, if just I don't know how I should do it. I'm really willing to compress my time in such a small space that I will only use up that space, that particular space, so that I'm not, like, you know, working on things the whole day long, as today, for example. But I don't know how I should do it. But if I know it somewhere or in some time, I will definitely be telling you. But for this now on, I have to say goodbye, and I have to thank the stream viewers, the two that appeared and then left like 5 minutes after that. But all these videos are also on the twitch.tv platform. But I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, I will see you tomorrow.